Okay.
Yes.
And we are recording. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to what will be an executive session of the Aberdeen Council. We have certain rules and regulations to go by. So what we'll do is actually start this meeting with the clerk doing a roll call.
Councilman Cannon. Councilman Hirsch.
Here.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Here.
Councilwoman Montone.
Here.
Councilman Swindell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Here.
Mayor Tagliarini.
Here, thank you very much. Our attorney, Michael,
Yes, Mayor.
would you like to read the executive session go to?
I sure would. A resolution authorizing the Township Council to enter into executive session. Whereas the Township Council are mindful of the right of the public to attend and witness meetings of governmental bodies at which public business is discussed and to be involved in all phases of governmental action. And whereas the Open Public Meeting Act nonetheless recognizes the authority of a public body to exclude the public from meetings in certain enumerated instances in which disclosure of matters discussed could endanger public safety, property, or other public interest or invade individual privacy. Be it resolved that the Township Council will meet in private session at 6:40 p.m. on June 4th, 2020 to discuss the following specific items: contractual land acquisition, ADP program, potential litigation, health. Be it further resolved that the matters so discussed will be disclosed to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Thank you very much. Can I have a mover on that, please?
Motion to.
Okay, second on that?
Second.
Okay,
Second.
great. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if anybody is on right now, we will just say goodbye to you for a while. If any action is taken in executive session, when we come back into our full workshop and regular meeting, we will certainly address that with you. So what I will say is we'll see you hopefully in less than an hour, but we will start that meeting as advertised at 7:30. So thank you for joining us. If you have to leave us now, you'll understand we're in executive, as our attorney just stated. And Brian, I guess you can turn everybody off.
Okay. Are live. Okay. And I'm now admitting all to the meeting.
Okay.
Everyone should be joining in a second.
Safe to go?
Yep. Everyone's just starting to come on. You might want to just wait 1 second as it says everyone's connecting. And staff-wise, I see Brittany, I see. I just don't see the CFO. She was coming on.
Chief still with us?
Yes, the chief is here.
Okay. I feel better already.
And I see our CFO is on. So Mayor, you are good to go.
Good. Thank you, Brian, very, very much. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Aberdeen Township Council workshop for June 4th. We're sorry we're a few minutes late, but we did finish with an executive meeting. No official action had been taken in the executive meeting. So we are going to go right into the workshop meeting as soon as our clerk gives us a roll call vote. Roll call.
Councilman Cannon.
Here.
Councilman Hirsch.
Here.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Here.
Councilwoman Montone.
Here.
Councilman Swindell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Here.
Mayor Tagliarini.
Thank you for the roll call attendance. And Mr. Manager, could you walk us through the workshop agenda, please?
I can. So we have two items. We have the 2020 state contract vendor list. Resolution is before you. This is a more of a routine matter, so the township can buy off a state contract. Our qualified purchasing agent puts together a list of names with their contracting numbers. and we're able to use them without any bidding processes needed, as long as they're from the state contract. So the state contract, just so you know, is done through the state, and then we're part of their. As long as we approve this resolution, of course, we're a part of that program through the state. And again, as long as they're on the list and they're a valid contract, the QPA can go right out and buy merchandise or anything from our vendors for materials and supplies off of this list. And then number 2 is authorizing the tax collector to prepare and mail the estimated tax bills. Again, resolution is before you for this evening. Again, we have to do the estimated tax bills because since the state has extended the state fiscal year to September, they won't be striking our taxes and our budgets, until then. So until that happens, we have to do an estimated tax bill. When the state does approve the final budget, we will send out the official tax bill around hopefully around sometime in September. If hopefully sooner, but most likely it'd be September. And besides my regular manager's report during the regular part of the meeting with some updates, I have nothing else for a workshop, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Brian. Does anybody have any questions of the manager about those agenda items, which we will take up in the regular meeting also? So do I see anybody who'd like a question or a comment on the workshop agenda? Brian, do you see? I don't see any.
Nope, you're all good. We're only on one
Okay.
page today.
So can I call on the deputy mayor to make a motion to go from workshop to the regular meeting?
Mr. Mayor, my fellow council members, I'd like to make a motion to move from workshop to our regular meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Good, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again this evening, as now we will go into the regular meeting for the Aberdeen Township Council of Thursday, June 4th, 2020. It should be noted that this meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been given to the newspaper and notice of this meeting has been posted. The next open public meeting of this council will be held on June 18, 2020. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilman Cannon.
Here.
Councilman Hirsch.
Here.
Councilwoman Kelly. Councilwoman Kelly.
She's muted.
I read her lips, though.
I did too.
Councilman, you have to unmute from your side.
Okay.
Councilman, you have to unmute from your side. I can't unmute you.
Can't do it.
Okay.
Okay. I read her lips and she said yes.
I did too.
Okay. And I see
Councilwoman
her.
Montone.
Here.
Councilman Swindell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Here.
Mayor Tagliarini.
Here, thank you so very much.
I just want to say something. I was thrown out for a minute. I got back in now, so that's what happened. Well,
Okay.
here,
We read your lips. So,
I don't know how you could because I was out of the meeting. As far, well, I don't know. Okay, excuse me.
It's very, very good. Thank you all. We're moving along, and now traditionally we always have a moment of silence. We always start off by thinking of our military men and women who protect us here at home and on foreign soil. And since the pandemic has started, we have added doctors, nurses, technicians, research people to that list. We also have to thank our local police under the great leadership of Rick Delahilo, our police chief, and his executive staff, EMS, CERT, all the emergency services. We would like to give thanks to them. And of course, I would be remiss without saying, researchers, please hurry with a vaccine. And with that, I'm going to also invite all of you now to have a personal moment to yourself for any intentions that you have. And of course, another tradition, and we've gone to a small lawn flag, but we're not going to not do what we do at every meeting, which is a salute. So I'm going to basically ask wherever you are to just say along the Pledge of Allegiance as I basically hold up our little prop. And we'll start by saying, I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag,
of the United
United
States
States of America,
and
into the republic
Republic
for which it stands, one nation,
nation,
under God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now I feel like we're in this meeting. This is a point in time where we have reports, if any. And so I would like very much to.
Mayor,
Yes.
if you want, do you want me just to give the usual how to be able to speak for the public when it comes to the public portions?
Yes. Thank you so very much, Brian.
Yeah, just give me a second. I'll run through that.
Right.
So just for the people that are signed on for this evening, welcome. If you've come on remote access through your phone, basically you're only able to hear what's going on at the meeting. You're not going to be able to ask questions. I would tell you that if you would like to do a question, you're more than welcome to email me. I do monitor my email as the meeting goes on, and you can email me at bryan.russell@Aberdeen, ABERDEEN, brian.russell@aberdeenNJ.org. If you are coming on through the smartphones or with your PC, laptop, or a tablet, which are the preferred options, you will be able to hear and see the council and hear the attendees' questions. You do have two options to get recognized. Again, you can do it through the email, or you can use the raise your hand option, and then I will unmute you to ask any question. Or if you don't have the raise your hand option, there is a reaction button at the bottom. If you just click the thumbs up, I will see that as well, and I will be able to, again, unmute you at the times of the public portions. And rather than that, again, I will check my emails. So we give about a minute or two just to double check if there's anyone that does need to ask a question. And if not, then the mayor does move on to the next portion of the meeting. So Mayor, back to you.
Thank you very much, Brian. And to everybody online here tonight, we will certainly give you proper notice of when we'll have this opened up to your questions and everything else. The next item on the agenda, we call it reports. So I'd like to start with Chief Delahilo from the Police Department for an update on how his men and women are holding up. Chief.
Well, Mayor, we are holding up. It's been a trying couple of weeks. COVID has kind of taken a back seat a little bit to the national events that have been going on. And but just to report a little bit on the COVID, since we last spoke, we've had about 235 cases that were positive in town since the start of the COVID pandemic. And there were 199 total residents that were affected, but 255 locations. And since that time, we've had 164 removed. So as we stand today, there are 35 positive cases still on our list in town. So the numbers are moving in the right direction as far as that goes. How it affects our school, we were working on that last week. Graduation, you're aware the governor came out with some guidance on having outside graduations, and the school district and the students, the seniors were excited about that. And so it looks like maybe in July, we're working on plans to having limited graduation done in groups in phases. So that was moving forward. One thing we did cancel was there were plans for a senior graduation parade that would include the police department, the fire department, and some school buses and stuff. But given the events that have come about in the last week, we found it necessary to cancel that. So unfortunately, we had to put that aside, and we'll concentrate on graduation, and hopefully we'll get that taken care of in the next week or so. So other than that, we're all in pretty good shape, and everybody's feeling good, and we're busy. That's about it.
Chief, thank you so very much. And I know I speak on behalf of the entire council to please pass our best and warmest wishes on to your men and women and your executive staff. You have done an outstanding job during this pandemic and has kept us safe. And we just cannot thank you enough for your leadership.
Thank you, Mayor. But once again, I have to give the credit where it's due. And, without the men and women of the department, none of this gets done. So it's to their credit that Aberdeen is as safe as it is. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief, very, very much. I'm going to move along now to reports from council. And usually I have a dais to point to. So now I'll just go alphabetically. And I would like to start off, if I'm doing this correctly, Councilman Cannon, do you have a report for tonight?
Sure, Mayor. I've been doing a little council work in the last couple of weeks. I usually give the roads report, but that's all ongoing. So I actually was working on something else this past week. So as many of the council's aware, there's a property on Church Street just past the culvert, effectively behind the volleyball courts at the church and in between there and the D section, let's call it, more or less. It's like 6 acres. It's had a for sale sign out there for years, and then it didn't. Now it does again. And so because I'm always around town now because there's no place to go, I was driving down and I called the realtor one day because I know that the council, as we talked about in our reorg meeting, as we talked about the environmental board, and I know there's always people on the meeting who haven't been here before, but we've talked a lot about places where we've done a lot of development in town, and we've talked about places where houses really don't work. Places that are environmentally sensitive in the lower lying areas of the beach and in Strathmore along the creeks. And so this property kind of fit into that. So I called the number on the realtor sign. I talked to the gentleman who has the listing, and the owner would be interested in selling it to anyone, of course, for a profit, because that's how real estate works. But that being said, I wanted to bring it up before the council to see if you guys are, in favor of, here's what I'd like to do next. I don't want to buy the property tomorrow. I'd like to ask the environmental board to ask the realtor, set them up with the environmental board, have the environmental board go and traverse the property, bring, Paul and those guys over there have like all kinds of experts they know and everything, or people that will come with them, and just have them do, before we spend any money on engineers or realtors or lawyers or all this, just have the environmental board go over it and talk, and they're expert enough to tell us whether it's environmentally sensitive, what they think can be built there, and kind of give us, their opinion on whether it might be worthwhile for the town preserving that property as a buffer area like we've done elsewhere. As the council is aware, on the Meinzer Street property, where the yeshiva application was proposed and is now going to be sold to a developer, we've tried to get that buffer area over there along the ravine to make sure that there's the impervious coverage stays good in that area. This seems to be, in my non-expert opinion, the same type of thing. I think the D section would be, and the residents on Church Street and the entire back of the church parking lot and rec area, and perhaps even the high school, would be affected by more impervious surface right along Gravelly Brook back there. But that's my non-expert opinion. I'm a councilman, not on the environmental board, and I certainly don't spend as much time as those gentlemen and ladies over there studying these types of issues. So if the council's okay with it, I'd like to refer the matter to the environmental board to ask them for their opinion on the township's potential acquisition of the property that's for sale on Church Street, the 6 acres, that's the old farm there. If there's any comments, I don't know how, it's kind of during reports, so I'm sorry I brought this up here, Mayor, but that's what I've been working on.
Very well done, Councilman. And yeah, we have talked about it prior to COVID, and I know the general consensus is that people would be very interested. And how fortunate are we to have the type of volunteers on our environmental boards and the green teams and Shade Tree that we trust as much as you have just said. So I think that maybe we just go around. Does everybody feel like we should continue? We did have some conversations, right? Greg, I know you're for it.
I
Arthur?
mean, in short, I mean, the reorg for residents who are on the meeting that weren't here when we were sworn in,
Yeah.
you know, we walked around last year and we campaigned on the notion that,
Yeah.
yeah, we built a lot of stuff, and I know that scares a lot of people. We're also looking at the flip side, like where stuff shouldn't be built.
Correct.
And, you know, the Meinsner Street location is a location that I think a lot of the public knows about from past years. And this is one as well, at least in my non-expert view from sitting here. It's 6 acres along a creek that used to be a farm. So it doesn't seem like a great place to build houses, but I'd like to take it to the next step from there before we start spending any money.
Absolutely a terrific plan, and I know we all support that. So continuing, Mr. Cannon, you're done?
Mayor, do you want to reach out to the environmental board, and I'll reach out to the realtor, and we'll connect them together?
Absolutely. I will get a hold of Mr. Noble and Mr. Rainier, and Mr. Hooser had an interest. So yes,
Perfect.
I'll certainly do that.
Okay, thank you.
Plan. Thank you, Councilman. Continuing, Councilman Hirsch, anything tonight?
Marty, you're muted.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Kelly?
No, nothing tonight also.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Deputy Mayor, anything to report on tonight?
No report, Mayor, but I just want to clarify, we are giving Greg the opportunity to go talk to the realtor, and you are going to contact, I know we didn't go through the whole council on that, but I think we all agree. And I just want to also make sure that people understand that what Councilman Cannon was saying is that we're going to look at that as if we do purchase that, if it's worthwhile, it would be passive recreation, it would be no houses built.
Very good point. Thank you.
Buy it for conservation purposes. Thank you, Joe.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much on that. Moving along, Councilwoman Montone.
No, I do not have a report for tonight, but I just want to mention, because I did say it at the last meeting, that we have not had our parks meeting yet, so that I can bring an update to the parks that we're going to be working on. We're looking at some dates. I'm hoping by the next meeting that will be something on the agenda.
Yes, I think we're very close to that for the 8th or the 9th with another follow-up and plenty of time for the next council meeting. You're spot on that. Thank you, Councilwoman. And Councilman Swindell.
Thank you, Mayor. No reports tonight, but I would like to just make a reminder for those who are going to meet Sunday at 2:45 at the AAP. Just a reminder.
Good. Yes, thank you very much, Councilman, and for that update. We're gonna now go to our manager for the state of the town.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm going to try to be as short as possible. I'm just going to piggyback off a little bit with the chief there with the COVID numbers. And if you have started to see, we started to kind of rearrange how we're sending out our information now. And with a little bit of what our county numbers are and what the daily daily number is, plus the cumulative number. And then we've also started that with our township numbers. Again, we usually put the press release out every day. We're just changed it around a little bit. Again, it gives the township positivity number if there was a change, and then the cumulative number, which the chief did give as of June 4th today. We got a very late report, so it was at 236 with one positive number, and really it's since May 18th. We only had 2 days of a spike of 5 in one day. We had 5 positive cases come in that was reported as Aberdeen numbers, and one other day at 4. Rather than that, we've been holding very well at basically an average of maybe one positive report over time, but in probably since the 18th, we've actually had at least 3 days, about three days at a time that we stayed flat, which is, I think, a testament of everyone trying to work together and staying socially distant and wearing the mask when they go into the essential stores and basically just working together. And that's been a great testament for the township. And again, we just have to keep working together. And that's how I kind of will go into the next portion of this with some of the executive orders since our last meeting. And one of the big ones is that starting June 15th, we start our phase 2 of reopening New Jersey and of course reopening Aberdeen. So on June 15th, as we talked already, and many people have already been inquiring through the town, is outdoor dining. So I know the mayor may say a little bit more on this too, but I'm just going to give a little bit on the administrative side. But we are finishing up with my administrative team, and I have to thank everyone from our fire inspectors to our chief of police, to my zoning officials, construction officials, Paula Ramsey and John Quinn. We have, and I apologize, and to our township attorney, Michael. We have all been working hand in hand the past week, and since the governor really announced this, to update a special permit for outdoor dining. So any of our restaurant establishments that would like to do dining outside will be able to, and most likely by Monday, we will make the final announcement tomorrow, but on Monday, these establishments can reach out to our construction official, my office if need be. We will have the permits on the website so they can download, and they'll just have to fill out the temporary permit and get that back to the zoning construction office so they can go over, approve, and make sure everything's set so they can open up on June 15th. We're also working on doing a outdoor retail permit, even though just today, yesterday we got the guidance on the outdoor dining, so we were working even before that, but just trying to get everything in place. And then we did our final reviews of the outdoor guidance today and put our final pieces together. And then also today, this late afternoon, the governor announced his guidance on outdoor retail and technically non-essential indoor retail, which would be, stores can't do any more than 50% capacity. You do have to wear masks, both employees and the customers, and they have to set aside time for customers that have health issues so they can go shopping as well inside and be comfortable going in. So, but we're also going to allow a special retail permit for this time period. That if you also want to put some of your merchandise on the outside, you will be able to do this. Again, we're finishing up that permit as well. And when that is prepared to go out within the week, that'll again be posted everywhere and put on our website so you can download right from there. Just a couple other executive orders that have gone out. Again, we have the stage 2, which will start effective June 15th. Along with that, child care services, youth day camps, and organized sports are all starting. Child care services begins again on June 15th. Youth day camps are a little bit farther off. That won't be able to begin until July 6th. And organized youth sports can also begin on June 22nd. That leads me into my next part is we would like to have our parks reopened most likely by June 2nd. We're finalizing again with the administrative team to make sure that we follow and double check all the guidelines from the Department of Health because parks and playscapes are a little bit harder to make sure they're kept clean and disinfected. So we are planning on trying to get the parks reopened for recreational use. I know we've gotten some calls about the basketball courts. Again, we would like to get them reopened up. Again, we won't be able to do any kind of tournaments or major games, but we will be able to have them open so people can do shoot-arounds and have small games. Again, as the governor has opened up also the outdoor gatherings of people in areas. So again, we're Aberdeen, and I think as I've talked to the mayor and many of my council members, every day. We're trying now to welcome and open up Aberdeen again. And this is just, we're starting to get that going. And as the next couple weeks and into the month goes, you'll be seeing a lot more of our restrictions loosened so we can get our residents back to a regular normal day. And one other executive order that was opened up is Executive 150. And as I spoke, it's the outdoor dining and liquor licenses extensions for our businesses. So again, we're in phase 2 and everything is starting to open up, and we will be working hand in hand with everyone to make sure that everyone has a nice, easy transition into this. Couple of small department updates. The court has reopened for virtual court sessions. We have now had 2 sessions already in the past 2 weeks and have run very smoothly. So that is another turn for good. Again, not open to public sessions yet, but the virtual sessions are going well. And our judge and administration and the courts are extremely happy how everything is running good and smooth at this time. Other good news, DPW hours and manpower will be turned on June 15th as well. So on June 15th, the recycling yard will go back to its normal hours, Monday through Saturday. And our regular hours of all the manpower is going to go into place. We're just about good with our plans of how we'll still keep our social distancing and how everyone's going to work through our trucks and how they're coming in and the lunch rooms and disinfecting going forward. So again, we're just finalizing, making sure everything is in the correct order before we would allow everybody back at the same time. But we are estimating to go with June 15th for that date as well. Once we have that totally confirmed early next week, we will be doing we will announce everything on our social media and make sure everyone knows about the yard and services that'll go forward. So that, again, trying to get back to normal. Town Hall is still not going to be open to the public yet. I'm going to do a slow roll of everything opening. So DPW is going to be first, and then we'll slowly start integrating Town Hall as well. We still have a few security upgrades and health upgrades we have to do to the building before we can have it open fully to the public. But again, just a reminder for anyone that needs to reach out to any of us here at Town Hall, you can call our main line and use the extension, and you can get anyone here at Town Hall. Everyone is in at all times from 8:30 to 4:30. If you're dropping anything off or any correspondences, we have the night drop box on the side of the building. You can do your taxes, any correspondence that you need to drop off can go right into the night drop box. That's on the side of the building. There is a sign in the parking lot that shows where that is. If you're anything for the construction department, there is a drop box in the front of the building at the main entrance. You can drop anything you need to for them in there, permits, applications, drawings. They check that basically on an hourly turn, and they'll get back to you as soon as possible. And of course, you can always email us, and we do return everyone's emails or phone calls. So there's no way you can't really get a hold of us. And if you have a problem, call my office, and I will gladly try to get help to you or direct you in the right direction or get a hold of you. Recreation, we're still looking at everything for rec, from our special events to day camp. Some things still look to be a little tough, even though the governor has opened up day camps for July 6th. There is a lot of guidelines that we have to go into. So we're still meeting to discuss all those, and hopefully we'll have a better answer for everyone by our next meeting on the 18th, if not sooner, to let people know how we're going to handle our summer camps and our recreational special events going forward for the summer. And we talked outdoor dining, and I believe, I got a couple small little things. Okay, some good news, some really good news, I think, that people will be very happy with. I got a final report on the Woodfield area wastewater collection and water system rehabilitation. Some good news there. We actually came in $3 million lower than the original anticipated budget for this project. And this was before my time. I really just came in and I finished up the project. So I have to say kudos to all of you and to the staff, our engineers, and mayor and council. Great job on you guys. The original project was about $10.1 million. And with everything, the final cost and principals and final paving came in at like, $7 million. So you're about $3 million was lower than the original. So great job. And that's showing some great management here in the township. So I was really happy to get this letter to report this all to you guys tonight. And that looks to be it, Mayor. I think I'm done. I tried to be as short as I could. I know I couldn't do it always, but rather than that, it looks like you're good to move on.
Well, very good, Brian. Thank you so very much. And I just want to make one point that I think you were a little bit too modest on one of your report items. As the council knows, we must have started outdoor dining 3 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
that's when, and I know Paul in the building department must have said, what do you want to talk about? What do you want us to do? So because we got such a good jump on it and we knew the governor was going to break with this eventually, we're ready. We're basically ready. And we just dot some I's, cross some T's, and we just might, with any luck, put out a press release tomorrow. Plus, we've communicated with our business community, and Monday night we're even having a Zoom meeting with the Economic Business Council of this town, and they've been very supportive. We're going to be making some signs up that says Aberdeen is open for shopping, shop locally, or whatever the verbiage we come up with on Monday night. But we should be able to have at least a half a dozen signs around town. Route 34, Route 35, maybe one on Lloyd, maybe even more. So we're very proud of that fact, and kudos to our building department and you for putting up with me on wanting to get this topic done, because these folks need help so desperately, and they are excited, very, very excited that we're ready. And they're ready to open. And I know Billy from the Blue Rock was ecstatic, and our friends at Piazza de Roma and the shopping centers, everybody is excited, ready, and willing. Did they get everything they wanted? No. But as a township, we're going to do everything possible to help them and not create red tape or prevent. But of course, it's always safety first, as the chief would attest to. But we're ready, and that's to great credit of Brian and your leadership and the building department and fire and code enforcement and council working together to get this town open and get these people some help. So thank you, Brian, and please extend that to the building department for me, and also the chief is still on the line. He's been very instrumental. So do we have thank you, sir. Do we have any other professionals that need some time? I don't have it in my notes, but did we need to call?
Nothing at this time. No, nothing at this time.
Okay, good. I didn't have any notes on that. So what I'd like to do, ladies and gentlemen, is move to item number 6. Now that is the hearing of the citizens, but at this particular point, number 6 refers to agenda items only. So if you'd like to look at your agenda, if it's in front of you or on your iPad or whatever, and later on we'll have another opportunity, as we sometimes call it, correspondence or new business. So this is agenda items only, and you raise your hand for Brian or a thumbs up, whatever you'd like to do. And if Brian sees someone who has a question on agenda items only, Brian will call on them. We'll call on you.
I am not seeing anyone at this time, Mayor.
Okay. You want to do a second quick check or?
Yep, give me one. Yeah, because I do have a second page now, so I have to double check. No, we look like we're fine.
Okay, well then we'll move along with the agenda, which brings us up to number 7. So I'm going to need a motion from Councilman Hirsch on number 7.
To our distinguished Honorable Mayor Taglerini, Deputy Mayor Martucci, and my fellow council members, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of, and I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties. Karen, help me.
Minutes of February 6th, workshop,
February
regular,
6th.
and executive.
Minutes of February 6, 2020, of the regular and executive meeting.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cannon.
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilwoman Montone.
Yes.
Councilman Swindell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Yes.
Mayor Taglerini.
Yes, thank you very much, Karen. We're on to number 8A right now, which is ordinance 6/2020, and I do have to read something, and then we will open this up to the public. So ordinance number 6/2020, introduced and passed on first reading by title on May 21st, 2020, and published according to law, is now being taken up for further consideration and public hearing. Affidavit of publication of this ordinance has been in the Asbury Park Press, May 27th, and will be submitted, and noted that a copy of this ordinance has been posted in the municipal building and that copies were available to the general public upon request. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance amending an ordinance entitled, an ordinance fixing the salaries and wages and fringe benefits of various officials, officers, and employees of the Township of Aberdeen, County Monmouth, State of New Jersey.
Okay, I'll just have one question before I open it to public. And I believe there's been no increases, everything is status, but it might be a new position that was added. So am I correct, Mr. Manager?
Yes, no min or maxes have been changed. The only addition was an assistant planning and zoning secretary added to the ordinance, and that's it.
Very good. Thank you for that clarification. So now I would like very much to open this meeting to the public for remarks or comments for or against the final adoption of this ordinance. And so we're going to ask you to do the same thing again, to either wave to Brian or a thumbs up or a hand up. And if Brian does see a hand up, we'll certainly entertain your question on this particular agenda item.
And Mayor, I see no one at this time.
Okay, so then what I'd like very much to do is to call on, I believe that we're going to be Councilwoman Montone for this motion.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mayor Taglerini, Deputy Mayor Martucci, and fellow council members, I would like to make a motion that ordinance number 6-2020 be finally passed and adopted, and that notice of its passage and adoption be published by title in the June 9th, 2020 issue of the Asbury Park Press.
Second.
Councilman Cannon.
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilwoman Montone.
Yes.
Councilman Swindell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Yes.
Mayor Taglerini.
Yes, and that'll bring us up to 8B, Resolution 2020-78, Amendment to the 2020 Municipal Budget Hearing. Madam Clerk, I'm just going to open this to a public hearing for comments.
Yes.
Public. So that's what we'll do at this time. Again, if anybody has any questions about the budget per se, please again, raise your hand, wave to Brian, a thumbs up, so that he will see that if someone has a question, we will certainly entertain that at this point.
And Mayor, seeing none, you are good to go.
Okay, very good. Then I'm going to call on Councilman Cannon for the motion to proceed.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to, if I could, just step back one moment. We just
Sure.
passed the salary ordinance that created a new position in the salary ordinance, but I wanted to mention that that doesn't mean we're hiring another employee for the payroll, that there's an employee, a currently existing employee that's going to wear multiple hats. And the purpose is, well, we don't really care if multi-million-dollar developers wait. The zoning board also approves residents' fences and pools and things. So the assistant allows us to respond to the residents. Thank you very much to the employees wearing all those multiple hats. So with that, I will make a motion to close the public hearing on the amendment to the municipal budget and to approve resolution 2020-78, approving the amendment to the municipal budget, which I'm proud to report lowers the tax rate by 3.5% this year.
Second.
Councilman Cannon,
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch,
Absolutely, yes.
Councilwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montone,
Yes.
Councilman Swindell,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci,
Definitely yes.
Mayor Tagliarini.
Yes, and quite a few of our council people could answer to that title, and all have won the titles greatly and have been always a tremendous help to the council. So yes, thank you so much, and we will move on to the Deputy Mayor, Martucci, for a motion for 9A.
Mr. Mayor, my fellow council members, I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda, resolution number 2020-81 and 2020-82.
Second,
Councilman Cannon,
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch,
yes.
Councilwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montone,
Yes.
Councilman Swindell,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci,
Yes.
Mayor Tagliarini.
Yes, thank you very much. And now we're up to what I alluded to before, agenda item number 10. Now, this is called Hearing of the Citizens Correspondence Petitions. We like to coin the expression new business. So if anyone has anything they'd like to share with us tonight, please again, raise a hand, a thumb, something to get Brian's attention so that we can open your mic and you can ask whatever's on your mind.
Okay, Mayor, again, as I signal for you, if you could just make sure you state your name and address for the record for the clerk, please. First I saw was Mr. Daly, Thomas Daly.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. And thank you, Mayor, council members, and everybody else for keeping these meetings public during this time. And I also wanted to extend our hopes that your families are well. I'm a resident of Inglewood Lane, homeowning resident of Inglewood Lane, and I had sent an email correspondence over the last 2 days to Councilmember Cannon and Mayor Tagliarini. And first, I just wanted to say thank you, Mr. Cannon. I saw your response a few moments ago, and thank you for everybody for taking that under advisement. But my reason for speaking right now is I wanted to make sure that it was an item placed on the agenda, or on the minutes, I should say, and recorded as such. So in a nutshell, Inglewood Lane was paved for the first time in decades in 2018. We thank you for that. Over the last month, New Jersey Natural Gas tore up about half of the block, and we received notice yesterday that they were planning to do the same for upgrades, not for emergency purposes, but for upgrades. We understand that they were given an opportunity to visit that solution when the street was paved back in 2018, but they chose not to do so. Mr. Cannon's response to my email indicated that New Jersey Natural Gas will be held responsible for the maintenance and replacement of the streets and the sidewalks and driveway aprons that have been disrupted because of the work. So I wanted to thank you for that quick response, and that was all I had to say.
Mr. Daly, thank you so much. And I think our manager would like to make a couple of comments too on this.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I know because we've been talking about this basically actually since yesterday. Most of the council members, Mr. Daly, actually got to me on this issue. This is stemming, I think, with going off the top of my head, I believe we discussed this even at another council meeting, probably end of February, beginning of March, with the first portion of this work being done as an emergency, and then they had to continue on with the rest of the homes on that block. We did have one meeting already, one major meeting with natural gas with one of their construction supervisors and their government affairs rep that has, they have assured us, and that's why it's on my checklist for when this is totally complete, that they will be curb to curb repaving. They understand at the time that there was no issues with this area, so that's why paving was completed without them doing any work. And then all of a sudden, 3 years later, 2 years later, we're now, they're ripping up the road again. So this is on my radar screen. If I get any more, I did reach out to them early this morning when I was in the office, and they did acknowledge my email, but they didn't have an update at that time. So once I get another update from them, if there's any changes or anything, I will get back to you. I do have your email. The mayor forwarded that off to me. So I will get back to you if I do hear anything different than what my original meeting was with them in the beginning of March, to let you know. And of course, I do keep the mayor and council members updated on all these things as well. Because like I said, yesterday, I think at least three of my council members were calling or emailing me with questions, because they did get noticed about the construction notice going out to the residents. So besides myself, the governing body is well aware and keeping a close eye on this as well.
Very much appreciated.
Not a problem.
And Mr. Daly, if you're still alive, I want to also return our good wishes to you and your family also during these difficult times, and thank you for the compliment of still being transparent and being involved and communicating, and so thank you for your kind words, and also thank you for being the eyes and ears on your street. It's so important. We had a police chief a couple of years ago who used to preach that all the time. So I want to thank you so very much for communicating what was going on, and we greatly appreciate it, and I mean it, and good health to you and your family.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we see anybody else with their hands up, Mr. Manager?
Mayor, I do not. I'm just doing one more check through. I had Mr. Daly earlier, so I knew right away to ask for him. So hold on. No, I don't see anyone else that is looking. I do want to make one comment, because I do see the gentleman on here. Mr. Drake, I was speaking with earlier today, and you had a question about a permit for roofing, and you do not need that permit, so you are good to do the repairs that you need. So I just wanted to reach out and let him know that from this morning when we saw each other outside. And Mayor, if you don't mind, that's something we should talk about. Neither one of us actually said it, but today the Hometown Hero banners were being displayed at the town hall for any family member that did buy a banner and put that up. We're still next week we'll be putting them up on the actual polls. But we were planning through our special events coordinator, Brittany Shea, that we were going to do a nice ceremony for everyone, the families, to see these beautiful banners. And today I was outside with, I saw Mr. Drake, and that's why I wanted to just remind to go back on that. And I saw the mayor and a few of our council members today, Councilwoman Montone and Hirsch, were outside as well today checking the building. And sorry about that, everybody. I live by a train. But we were outside, and seeing these banners hung up in display was just fantastic. And then the family members that were driving by taking pictures or just doing a quick drive to see the different flag banners that we had out today. They'll be out tomorrow. I think a few will be out again tomorrow. They were out yesterday, and we did make calls to the families to make sure they come out and see everything. So it was just good to see that, and the hard work again that everybody put into this, from the different staff members in town. The PBA worked very hard with us. Kathy Morello, Brittany. There's so many different people. The mayor and the EBC. Everyone was really hands-on to make sure this got off. And again, with the pandemic, things had to be put off to the side again, and how we were going to really do the unveiling. But just this small little action that people thought of to say, hey, let's just get, we got these banner stakes to put in the ground, and we were able to put them up just so people can see them before they get put up throughout town. It was a great thing today. And I was so happy to be outside and hearing the people, just say the nice things and, the great these pictures were. And it was a very nice thing today. So it meant a lot. And I think my staff also thinks the world of this project, and we will definitely be doing this again as years to come, and over the next probably week and a half, starting next week, DPW will start getting them up on the pole. So residents, again, when you're out there and you see them, take a quick look, take a stop, stop, pull over, don't take your eyes off the road, but stop and pull over and see these banners, because they are really nice, and it really shows some of our residents and what they sacrifice for all of us too.
Very well said.
Now I'm good, and I should have said that earlier during my report, but I kind of forgot.
It's okay. A lot's going. I was going to say to Mr. Daly also that you should see what's in front of all of us: the papers, the iPads, the phones. Everything has information on it. So we greatly appreciated his positive comment to us, and it has been a little bit difficult conducting business, but I hope we're doing a good job. And it should also be stated that the entire cost of Hometown Heroes were through contributions of the purchaser of those banners. Again, no township money was used. The same thing with the thank you signs that you see, almost 600 of them around town, all paid for and contributed by the purchaser, with a portion going to first responders and doctors and nurses and food and granola bars and water. So that's all by donation, and we thank everybody for that. So I have nothing else. If anybody else has thought of something they'd like to bring up on the council, now we'll do it, or else we'll see each other and talk to each other, and I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, usually we say get home safe, everybody, but I think you are in the safety of your home. Our numbers are getting so much better, and I want to thank the chief for finagling. We're not going to ask him how he did it to get those recovery numbers off our cumulative number, to show that things are really getting positive here in town and our county, and hopefully the state. And I hope to see you maybe out there in one of those outdoor dinings as we get close to that. And Brian, thank you for everything. Council, what can I say? My favorite team in the world, and best to everyone, and the best clerk in the United States. I can never forget.
That's it?
Sure.
Just the United States?
Well, we haven't proven life on other planets yet, but when I hope I'm still around to make that for you too. So good night, everybody, and thank you, and blessings to you, and good health. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good
Everybody,
night, everyone.
stay
Good
safe.
night.